Okay, so a very brief video today. What I'm doing today is just trying to improve the quality of my Henderson pump. Now, I've recently changed out the tennis ball on this pump, and I've also added an extra bolt. It is good, but stuff does still fall out. Don't get me wrong, I am recovering a lot more material than I would previously have done. One of the things what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it apart, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I have a section of rubber matting here I had using the Sluice. It's just leftover scrap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the front of the tennis ball, patch it in and try it out, and if it works out well, may add more to the back as well. I just want to create enough pressure so that when I pick it up, the gravel stays in the tube, because what's happening in a minute is it'll just fall straight out. It falls slower than it used to, but it'll fall straight out. I have to put a pan under it. What I'd love to be able to do is sucker this stuff up and then lift it up into a bucket. Then I'll be able to increase the amount of material I can move. So we'll see how we go. Okay, so one of the ways I improved this initially when I had this apart last time was I replaced the tennis ball. That's the last one was getting a bit rubbishy. It's just kind of falling apart. I'd had it for a good couple of years. So what I did was replace the tennis ball, and then I also went and put two washers behind. And what that does is it just puts more pressure on the unit so that it fits in the pipe better. What's been happening lately though, as you can see, the ball is kind of a bit crushed here. So what I'm going to do is, rather than going out and getting another ball and replacing it again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a section of this rubber matting I have here over the face of it and try and get it to screw in from the back, and we'll just see if does that make a difference. Obviously I'm going to test it at home first to make sure it thoroughly works. So the last thing I want to do is get to a gold bearing river and then find the unit doesn't work at all, because you know yourself, it's kind of hard to work on things so well. So yeah, hopefully we'll see how we go. What I've gone and done is I've cut the connection. It was originally just one piece. I've cut the connection so now it's two separate pieces, and I've made sure the piece is a tiny bit larger than the actual ball itself, and I've tightened in as hard and tight as it can. So hopefully this fits and hopefully we get some more gold. Okay, so it's pretty much finished at this stage. What I have is I have the plate in place. I've got another washer underneath that, and then I've got two washers in behind. One on this front side of the rubber and one on the back side of the rubber, and then there's a nut on the back of that as well. So hopefully this will actually create a bit more suction. I can already feel, even as I'm tightening it down, it's a lot more balance. The other thing as well, when I was putting the ball back in, I made sure to lean on one side of the ball more so than the other, so it was a nice even crush down, because previously what was happening was it would kind of crushed on one side not the other, and that would kind of create a bit of a gap. So hopefully this gets more gold. We'll see in a second. Okay, so on the gold trail again today. The noise in the background is my bucket swinging off my hip. I came up with an ingenious way of actually clipping it on. What I've gone and done is I've actually clipped it with a little strap there to my hip, and I've also got the classifier on as well. It just means rather than having to have it swinging down my arm, and then I just have my shovel strapped to the sucker tube. I was going to bring this loose today, but it's about a 2-kilometre trek from the car down to where the river is. So what I've gone and done instead is I've just brought the banjo. I'm going to use it as a mini high banker and classify stuff first, and then feed it gently through and use the bucket for the water flow. So yeah, this should be good. Hopefully we find some shiny. Okay, so I'm just after arriving here at the most beautiful, peaceful place ever. Yes, this is of course the famous Croghan Mountain, and these are the windmills. So what I'm doing is I'm heading down the trail here to a river where I know there is some gold. It's trapped in clay, but it's still there. And yeah, we'll head on down and see what we can find. Hopefully find some good stuff. What I've been doing is I've been going at the side of the bank here. You have this clay layer. I dug into the top part of it a little bit of, and found nothing, and then dug down here and started finding some black sand, which is very interesting. So what I've gone and done is I scraped out a lot of the gravel, and then I cleaned out the clay as well, and then I put it into the through the classifier into the bucket. Now the thing about it is there's not much water flow here, so I was having to bend down with the pan to scoop water out of the river. So what I ended up doing was I got the sucker tube and I sucker tube water into the pan. The problem was that there was gravel coming with that as well. Now initially I saw that as a problem, but then I thought, well look, that's where the where I'm digging, that's where I'm getting the water from, just right here. So I thought, what the hell, run everything. So what I started doing was I just started shoveling as much as I possibly could. I ran a test sample there from a quarter bucket, and I started finding gold. So I'll keep going with this, and hopefully we get some more. See you there. It's not too bad. There is a little bit of gold there, not very much, but at the same time it's still gold. There is a lot of clay there. Probably the best way of running the clay would be to just simply take a 1.5 inch classifier,
stick it over a wide mouth bucket so that the classifier always has water in it, and you can just simply stratify it there and then, see if you have to bend down too much. And then once you fill the bucket, just pan it. It's probably the simplest option. There's not quite enough water flow for a sluice, and also this time of the year you get eaten by flies.